Nabil Halok is a political activist who's joining me now live from Beirut to share his thoughts with us. I'd like to welcome you, Mr. Halok. First of all, the question that first comes to mind on today's International Quds Day rallies is the significance of this year when we're seeing the Arab revolutions taking place and when we say that Al-Quds Day is a day to support oppressed nations around the world, not just the Palestinians.
Yes, absolutely. First of all, assalamu alaikum. And this, I say, this is it's a very essential date for for, as you said, the oppressed people all over the world. This day that the leader, Imam Khomeini, on 1979, when he declared that the last week of Ramadan is going to, he marked the day of Al-Quds, the International Day of Al-Quds, which is that's what the aim out of this marking such date. It's very, it's a message to go through the generations that Al-Quds issue, it's the symbol, it's actually an international symbol that will lead to unification among all the free men of the world, to unite under this title, to call to end the atrocity and the aggressions against the people's will, and to call for the liberation of the occupied Palestine by a racist, illegal regime, and it's a source of a threat for instability across the globe. So for this glory, this is a glorious day actually that all the free people in the world they unite and to show solidarity with our brothers and sisters in occupied Palestine, and in order to call for the full liberation of Jerusalem, which is now under the threat of Judaization, the city. And this is, of course, that will show the apartheid regime that the Israeli, they followed its course.
Yes.
For that, Imam yes.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Halok. As you're speaking, I'd just like to give our viewers information on the pictures that they're seeing while we are hearing you, and that are pictures from the Yemeni capital, Sana'a, showing people burning the Israeli flag there. This is a scene that we've also been seeing in Saudi Arabia and in other places across the Middle East and elsewhere on this International Quds Day. This is a scene that we see a lot of people who have come to protest burning the Israeli flag. But just before we move on, I'd like to welcome Mr. Raza Kazim. He's spokesman for the Islamic Human Rights Commission, who's joining us now on the line from London. Let's have his view on the events taking place today as well. Mr. Kazim, how have these annual rallies that we are seeing taking place, now the pictures coming from Yemen and elsewhere in Saudi Arabia, are helping or influencing the Palestinian cause? With the philosophy that the late Imam Khomeini put forward, do you think that 30 years on, it has managed to achieve anything for the Palestinian cause?
I think it's the whole situation with regards to the issue of Palestine is one must remember. I've said this a number of times, that one of the things that we always need to remember is that when the Egyptian revolution was starting up, the media analysis that was coming, Western media analysis that was coming out of this was not primarily geared to what it would be, what use and what the implications would be for the Egyptian people, but it was in fact geared towards seeing what the impact of this is going to be on Israel and the Israelis. Now, when you see that in the Western discourse and Western narrative in the media, it crystallizes the fact that what people in the Western powers are interested in is preserving Israel and the Zionist entity, namely the US and the UK are at the forefront of that. And it is for that very reason that a number of the dictatorships that have been allowed to continue for so long is precisely to make sure that the Zionist entity is not threatened. It doesn't matter what the impact is on the people. And then the issue of Palestine needs to be suppressed. The whole thing that the Zionists had driven towards over a period of time was that they wanted the idea of resistance, armed resistance to Israel, to be crushed. They thought that with the Oslo Accords and the PLO coming into line, etc., that these things would now have gone in the direction that the Israelis wanted. With the issue of Quds being raised internationally all the time, it has taken a number of years where a lot of people have actually started to come together and recognize that a lot needs to be done. Shaheed Murtaza Mutahhari had called for the boycott, had asked people also to remember the people of Palestine. And obviously this Quds Day has been essential in making sure that the issue of Palestine is not going to die. And with the advent and the influence of Hamas and the victories that Hezbollah have achieved, the issue of Palestine has remained and come to the fore. And I think, again, what we're seeing is that people are trying in the machinations that are going on with these revolutions, that the people's will is going to be manipulated. And that's what all of the people of the different countries really need to think about very carefully. We've seen the hypocrisy of Western position with regards to the issue of Libya, with regards to the issue of Bahrain, with regards to the issue of Syria, and what they are trying to do in all of these different cases. And I think it's something that needs to be kept in mind. I mean, we talk about that Palestine is something that is prominent in all of this discourse and has to be kept at the forefront, because people are trying to sideline that particular issue. And I think the fact that more people, I mean, certainly in the demonstration that took place in London, there were more people here at the Quds demonstration than there have been last year or for a number of years. And I think it's because people are in that zone where they really feel very strongly about what's going on in general, and in particular that the issue of Palestine should not be forgotten or sidelined in any way while the revolutions in the other places are going on, because those things are linked. It's about the preservation of the Zionist entity as far as the US and the UK are concerned.
Yes, and what you said there, Mr. Kazim, is that the Quds Day rallies have managed to keep the issue, the Palestinian issue, and the rather Israeli occupation and the concerns of the Palestinian people alive and at the forefront, you say. Mr. Halak, if I could bring you back on this, how close, however, do you think the Palestinians have come to achieving the ideals that they're looking for?
Actually, the Palestinian people and the Palestinian different faction and organizations, they, when it's come to this day it helped to unite, to unify their vision, to focus on Jerusalem as the main central issue, plus to go further in calling to get their rights actually, and towards to get back their, or to by liberation or by other settlements for other factions. Actually, they're looking for like the vote by September concerning the resolution of the Palestinian state, which is actually, it's not so popular among the Palestinians themselves, because the Palestinians themselves, they're looking for, to first of all, the right of return issue is very essential issue for the Palestinian people in the diaspora. So for that, this issue is going to be the coming title that the struggle will be under that, under that banner for the days to come. But now the Palestinian people, after they show the support has been given to them through First of all, by the call of the leader Imam Khomeini, from the late 70s, and especially when he announced on the 1980 that the hope that we shall pray in Jerusalem, in Al-Aqsa Mosque, liberated Jerusalem, and that is going to be in the near future. So this hope that is being given from Imam Khomeini to the Palestinian people, and year after year they saw the escalation of support and to the Palestinian cause through this International Day of Al-Quds all over the world, and the awareness that through these events, the awareness that international awareness towards the Palestinian cause, that it resulted on getting more supporters from the fifth, from the whole world. That kind of support, it really ignites the moral and the aim that the Palestinian, they didn't surrender, not like some figures, unfortunately, which is they link themselves to American sort of scenario, or to make resolutions with the Israelis themselves. No, the majority of the Palestinian, actually, they looking forward for these moves. They're looking forward to liberate Palestine, really liberate Palestine, not to transfer it to an issue of the conflict between Palestinian Authority and Israeli Authority on the other hand. No, it's an Arabic international struggle against occupier to Palestine, who occupied Palestine and who committed crimes and epitomizes these crimes and really cause disaster to the people in the region as well. Right. So this day, actually, has a great deal of meaning. It's a very meaningful day for the free will of the whole, of all free men of the world.
Right, the pictures that we are seeing here as you are talking, Mr. Halak, coming from Sana'a in Yemen, Malakiya in Bahrain, earlier on the Awamiya region in Saudi Arabia. Now, these are countries whose people have been staging a revolution, who are still continuing with their rallies to oust their own dictators. Mr. Raza Kazim, if I could come to you now, speaking of the Arab revolutions, do you think that the region is witnessing a new era in terms of relations now between Arab regimes and Israel, considering these revolutions and the fact that these people on the streets are showing strong anti-Israeli sentiments?
I think it depends. First of all, I think when we talk about Arab revolutions, I think we need to keep in mind that this spans across North Africa as well. And I prefer to use the term Islamic awakening because of the language that is being used by the protesters in the overwhelming majority in terms of the revolutions, and when they come out onto the streets, the Friday being the flashpoint after Jummah prayers, etc., etc. And I think with regards to the how the discourse with the Israel is going to move, it's going to be, we'll have to wait and see. I think the people on the ground, when they burn the Israeli flags, they make their intentions very clear. We see that for many years, people are disconnected with the government in terms of what the government wants to do and what the people want to do. The people's intentions with regards to helping the Palestinians are very clear. However, that same narrative does not come in to force with regards to what the governments are going to do. We see, for example, in the issue of Saudi Arabia, they were very happy to send their forces in to Bahrain. But when Operation Cast Lead took place against Gaza, we didn't see that same kind of vigor or interest in terms of making sure that the Palestinians were in any way, shape or form defended by the billions of dollars that they've spent on buying American equipment, etc., military equipment, that could possibly have defended the Palestinians. So I think the hypocrisy of Saudi Arabia and regimes like that is very clear to see. With regards to how it's going to develop in terms of Yemen, in terms of Egypt, etc., in terms of Libya, we really have yet to see. We've had one report coming in, or some reports coming in, where members of the Libyan revolutionaries have talked about seeking help from Israel. Now, if that's the direction that the government is possibly even contemplating or thinking about, then it's very worrying, because what we're seeing is the hijacking of this revolution, hijacking of what people want to do, or the general population wishes to do, to something that they will not. You know, you're going to replace one dictator by another set of dictators who are going to do what the people do not want to do. And it's the people's will that is really crucial and important within this whole situation.
Well, speaking specifically about Egypt now, Mr. Hadlar, live images earlier on of people continuing these demonstrations against the Israeli regime, demonstrations that have been going on for days now, calling for the expulsion of the Israeli ambassador, calling for the cutting of ties between Israel and Egypt. And that it does look like the military rulers and the future government that's going to come in Egypt will have to consider the public sentiments if it wants to remain in power now that the will of the nation is speaking loudly now in Egypt. What do you think? Do you think that now, specifically with Egypt, which is considered a neighbor for Israel now, and something that Israel relied on very much under Hosni Mubarak, a country that it relied on very much, do you think that that is going to put a major impact on the geopolitical situation for Israel?
Actually, the situation in Egypt, I mean, it's very, we have to actually to separate the outcome of the change, I say, out of the revolution in Egypt, that it didn't lead yet to a real change as such. The military council, of course, there is a kind of pretext that they need time in order to reorganize and to do things in the constitution, by the constitution, in order for the re-elections or to call for election as such. But the youth of Egypt, and that I did witness in many occasions, in various occasions, with my visits to Egypt, especially my last time when I went through Al-Arish to Rafah to Gaza. The youth attitude it's promising actually, and that they're going to make the change in the near future. So the Israeli actually that's their main fear. It's not the fear which is it might come from a military council that they know that there is some sort of American influence on some figures in this council. That this council, they're still keen of maintaining the agreements that have been signed through the past regime towards the Israelis. So, but the main fear of the Israeli will come. I mean, this fear, it's actually what it been coming from the youth and the nationalist Egyptian people. So the conspiracies that the Egyptian now facing, especially the sectarian conspiracy and many other issues, actually that some intelligence, international or even the Israeli have part of it, in order to divide the Egyptian actually structure, and to make people busy with internal conflicts, as we see in some Arab countries as well, that they try to divide these nations in order for sectarians and for other religious pretexts, in order to divide these people, not to go and unified under the banner of calling of employing all their energies towards facing the Israeli and the Americans, plan in the areas. But the Egypt itself, I say, it's a promising. I mean, I have faith in the youth and the men and women and children of Egypt, because they do have inside them the real national aim towards backing the Palestinian cause, towards put an end to this shameful resolution, which is the Camp David agreement with the Israelis.
Mr. Nabil Halak, political activist, joining us there live from Beirut. Thanks very much, sir, for your comments. I'd also like to thank Mr. Raza Kazim, spokesman for the Islamic Human Rights Commission, who was with us on the line from London.